Good morning, it's lovely to be back, and thank you to all who watch live and who join me later to watch recordings for this. Do love doing it. Life is very, very, very chaotic and pressured, and it's because you guys stay with me that I can justify doing this kind of on a wing and a prayer. Right, so I'm going to talk about your weeks 5 and 6 of the interventions I'm doing with children aged 9 to 11. And I've been focusing on division. I talked in the last video about how I set children up to start to visualise division, that it can be sharing fairly or counting groups, and that we swap between the two models depending on what the numbers are, so which works easily. Hi, if you're watching, it'd be lovely if you said hi. If you've got any questions, your questions take priority. So, first week on actually working with division calculations beyond a few mental calculations that children could do in their head. And I've got these worksheets. There's a worksheet for division by each number, 1 by 2, 1 by 3, 1 by 4, and so on. And we generally started with a bit of division by 2, and we used Dean's blocks, got children sharing fairly, really seeing what they're doing, understanding that they're splitting each number in half as they go, and if it doesn't split in half there's one left over, and showing with the Dean's blocks how we exchange it, so they're really, really confident how they can do this. And we're generally focusing on sharing fairly here. And then I asked them, what's another times table that you're fine with? And for some children, it's most of them. And we go as challenging as we can. I try to get children working on different sheets within the group so that I can tell if there's any copying going on, because that happens. But say a child isn't very confident with their tables, they may well know their 5 times table, or be able to count in 5s, which is good enough for this. And so we move them on. And I work with the blocks as well, but I start to explain that every time we get a group of 5 in a number, that's giving everyone 1. So here with the hundreds, we've got 8 hundreds. So we've got a group of 5 hundreds, which gives everybody 100, and we've got the extra 3 that aren't used. So we then write in here a number 3, because we're exchanging those hundreds into tens, and we've got 36 tens. And we'll actually be doing with these with the blocks as we do it. And then we count the groups of 5 in the 36. And for some of my weaker students, it really helps to use the counting beads. Even though we're talking about tens, this now transfers to any digit in this to represent it. So the first 5 gives everyone 1 each. The next 5 does, and we're counting on our fingers 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And I'm showing them on the beads, getting them to count on their fingers. We had 31. We've used 6 5s, that's 30. I would have all these spread out so they can see the 5s. Each 5 gives everyone 1, so we've kept track on our fingers of each person getting 1. And so with this, it was 36, so we've got 7 5s out of it, and there was 1 left over. So we record the 7 that each person got, 1 from each group, and the 1 left over, and then how many 5s in 10? See the 10, there's 2 5s there, and in each 5 each person gets 1. So if we count 5, 10, each person's got 2. And what we're doing there is a massive, massive mental shift, and I keep referring back to there being 2 models of division, sharing fairly and counting groups. And we are swapping between the sharing fairly and counting groups and using the strengths of both. Because by the time they get up to division by larger numbers, you're going to have to here be thinking how many 7s in 65. If you're trying to split them, it's really hard. If you're counting 7s in 65, this model still stays. How many 7s in 65? There's a 7, there's another 7. We try to get up to 65. Each group of 7 is giving each person 1, so we're keeping track. And so on. Now, once they've completed a worksheet on a number that they do know the times table for, we try and move on to one that they don't. So that might be this one. And I remind them that they need to write out their 7 times table. aim for 70 because we know that's 10 sevens, and when we get there we've got all the results we need, and if they get to 69 or 71 they've gone wrong and they need to go back and check. This isn't how I would teach normal children. Children in normal times, sorry. Totally the wrong thing to say. In ordinary times, of course, we would have laid much more secure foundations on knowing times tables before doing this. It's not possible, so they need confidence that they can tackle division. They can write out the 7 times table and use it and references to use the same strategy. So that's really what week 5 was all about. I came back at the beginning of week 6 and consolidated that, checked everyone was okay, and then moved them onto this hard division, short division sheet, which I'll post in my Facebook group, which is Expert Primary Maths Teaching. I'll try and do that pretty much straight after this session, certainly this morning. And what we've got going on here is divisions of large numbers. Hi from Hexham. I know Hexham well. How are you doing, Jane? Got any questions? Doing division of large numbers, some rehearsing them saying large numbers and building the confidence that they can do this. Division of decimal numbers here. And then I've got divisions where with some groups we just put in remainders, and with others we extended them by making that number 0.0 and continuing the process, showing them they could do that and get an answer that is 0.5. And there's some more of that in there. Lots, so that every child is being challenged and stretched. And I'd had some children who got all this way. I had some children who were still making progress with this. And I had 1 or 2 children who were really struggling, often because they missed a previous session and they were just panicking at the speed we were going at, and they were tired and it was the end of the day and their brains are just shutting down. That's the reality of teaching. Sometimes it's just like that in maths, and you have to come back the next week and have a go. But some children, they had come from being very fragile with dividing at all to being able to confidently do these in just a couple of sessions, which is hugely rewarding. Hi, I can see I have a few people watching. If anyone else wants to say hi, that'd be lovely. I am coming to the end of this session now, so if you've got any questions, please post them. If you've got any suggestions for what else you'd like me to do, just while I'm giving you a moment to do that, I'm still working on my petition on the gov.uk site to try and make the multiplication tables check fit for purpose. Yes, children need to learn their multiplication tables. It's really important. The difference for the children who know them when they're trying division is so obvious. But we need a test, if we're doing it with 8-year-olds, that says, 1, can they do it? 2, can they do it reasonably quickly? 3, can they do it fluently? And that's all we need to know. And none of those things are tested in the test for beginning. It's just rote recall, instant recall that's being tested. And they don't actually need that. I mean, you'd expect them to have it for some of the results. But if a child is saying, what's 12 sevens? And they're going 10 sevens are 70, 2 sevens are 14, putting them together and putting the answer in, that's good enough. And these children are also 8, and if you just focus on rote instant recall instead of actually taking a journey of learning maths, it's completely mad. I'm just overloaded. I'm gradually getting my head around things. I'm talking to lots of senior people across maths education, of course, the unions, politics, how to run Facebook campaigns, journalists. I'm talking to all these people and it's just absorbing time. I've only got so much time, so not really been driving forward signatures on the petition, but I will be back with that soon. Later today, I'm teaching all morning, and then at 1 o'clock I'm chairing a National Education Union Fringe at the Liberal Democrats Spring Conference on post-COVID recovery. You may have seen my videos on how teachers should definitely get involved in politics. It really matters because there's no consultation. The only way to rebuild it is through politics in England just now. If you're not in England, lucky you. Okay, I don't see any questions coming in. Thank you for watching. I'll be back next week. I think hopefully, yeah, I'm preparing for working on fractions and maths. Oh yeah, I should have said, when we were doing division, when we were going into decimals, I often took time out to explain decimals for the children who were ready, or explain fractions if that was appropriate. Sometimes children were tired or we had a little bit of time and they'd maxed out, we did what we could. We played things like Pocket Money Bingo, a learning resources game, which they just loved. Hi, what's the best intervention for a 15-year-old English language learner who has missed 3 years of school and has no number sense at all? Oh my goodness, a 15-year-old? Did you really say 15 years old? Because this is a primary maths channel. When you say no number sense at all, it can mean anything. It can mean anything from a child who cannot count 9 objects. Hi, I'm Minira. No number sense can mean if you see 5 objects, you can't count them even in your own language. Or it can mean they don't have a sense of tens and ones. Or it can mean so much. So it's really hard for me to help you in an instant in a question like that. I have a course. If you go to my channel, go to playlists. My child has never understood maths, and there's stuff on motor sensory integration, going back over the numbers to 10, and so on. And then it leads into the maths you learn age 7 onwards, for rebuilding from there with all the vigils, which would be really appropriate for a refugee. And yeah, we're going to have to be doing an awful lot more on reaching our children who don't have English through maths. Don't have instant answers for that. I'm glad that's some help. The other thing that's on my videos, if you scroll back, if you click on the videos, scroll back through them, or just do a search, had a chat with the Dyscalculia Network. There's an interview there about how you start to understand dyscalculia and work with it, and there's quite a lot of suggestions from the experts that I was interviewing there. Okay, any more questions? Alrighty, gonna say bye for now and get on with my teaching, my conference. Hi, are you taking any class for teachers? I'm doing some one-to-one sessions. A lot of my resources are out there, but sometimes people contact me through Facebook and say, please can I have a one-to-one session, and we just negotiate a price for that, and I do a small thing. Not really publicising that because I'm just so overloaded. It's amazing. I'm just sort of sitting here talking to you guys. But if that's what you need, what I'll probably do is just do a one-off session, short session with you, and point you through the resources so you know them, and then you can probably just ask me questions in Facebook groups and it'll be fine. Hi, I can see more people still joining. If you've any questions, I have to stop, otherwise I won't get anything to eat today. All right, thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.